So I'm going to show you another rational expression to simplify. This is going to, again, you're going to need to really remember how to factor. So if you do need to go back and review factoring, I would suggest you do so. So in this expression, we have m squared plus 5m minus 24 over m squared plus 3m minus 40. All right, so in this case, remember when we're simplifying rational expressions, we're trying to find factors that the numerator and the denominator have in common. So we need to break this up into factors. In order, if you recognize your numerator, this is a quadratic or a trinomial. And to break that into factors, we of course do our factoring, where we have the two sets of parentheses, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. If I factor my numerator, remember we ask ourselves what times what gives us m squared, and that of course is m and m. Go to your third term here. What times what gives you negative 24? Well, of course you have 4 and 6, you have 2 and 12, you have 3 and 8, and of course 1 and 24. Now with this third term being negative, that also gives us a clue that in our parentheses down here, one of these is going to be a positive and one of them is going to be a minus sign. So now, and that also comes into play when we're looking at this middle term and trying to figure out which combination of factors works here. So we need to be able to add two factors together where one is negative, one is positive, and we get a positive 5. So if we look at our 4 and our 6, 4 plus 6 in any way, shape, or form is not going to give us a positive 5. You could get a positive 2, a negative 2, and that sort of thing, but you couldn't get a positive 5. Looking at your 2 and your 12, if the 2 were negative, we'd get a positive 10. If 12 were negative, we'd get a negative 10 there. So again, that's not going to work. If we look at 3 and 8, if we make 3 negative, 8 positive, that would get us the positive 5. So we can just stop right there. So 3 has to be the negative value, 8 has to be our positive. Okay, so we just factored that top trinomial. Now let's do the same thing for our denominator. All right, so we have m squared plus 3m minus 40. What times what gives us m squared? We have m and m. Again, our third term is negative, so one set of parentheses is going to have a plus sign, one is going to have a minus sign. Okay, so now let's look at that 40. Again, what times what is going to give us negative 40? So we have 4 and 10, we have 2 and 20, we have 5 and 8. Let's see, I think that's about got it. I'm probably missing something somewhere. Anyway, okay, so here we go. If we look at 4 and 10, there's no way to add that together to get a positive 3. 2 and 20 again, but we have the 5 and the 8. Again, if we have a positive 8, a negative 5, add those together, that's going to give us a positive 3. So our 8 is positive and our 5 is going to be our negative. So now again, simplifying those rational expressions, we look for the factors that are the same in your numerator and the denominator. If you remember too from that first video, this whole thing right here, this m plus 8 in the parentheses, this whole thing is a factor. It's one factor. Same thing down here. So right now I'm looking at 4 different factors. I want to look at my numerator and denominator and find the ones that are the same. We have m plus 8 as a numerator or as a factor on the numerator, m plus 8 as a factor in our denominator. Since those are the same, we're going to cancel those out because m plus 8 divided by m plus 8 is going to be 1. Our second sets of factors here, we've got m minus 3, m minus 5. Those are not the same, so we cannot cancel those out. So the simplified version of the original rational expression is going to be m minus 3 over m minus 5, and this is your solution.